Social connection doesn't matter anymore. Yes, I know that's a very bold statement. There's a missing link to our mental health that is much more important than social connection, and that is inner connection. Social connections have become fraught with limiting belief systems, false ideologies, and fear-based conforming behaviors. Entering into social connections in 2025 may actually be worse for your health in some instances compared to entering into mindful, compassionate, inner connective practices. While more and more of the world is struggling with perfectionism, burnout, inauthenticity, loneliness, insecurity, self-doubt, more and more people are starting to find out that they can be alone without being lonely. More and more people are discovering that they can turn what looks like isolation into peaceful solitude. And they don't do that by forming social connections. They do that by connecting with their own inner guidance system. Now, this won't be the way for everyone. There will still be many people who are focusing on the importance of social connection because that's what all the research and literature over the last hundreds of years has been telling us is so important. Throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about the ins and outs of all of this. But first, I need to tell you a little bit about my own story. I was always a loner, but I didn't feel like it was okay or socially acceptable to spend so much time alone. Yet I was much happier and felt more confident about myself than most people I knew. I had a very rich inner world while my outer world may have been lackluster. What would cause my confidence to wane or what would cause me to go into a state of depression was when my way of being wasn't understood, criticized, or made fun of. When I'd face rejection, abandonment, and judgment from the outer world. So I made efforts to fit in and be more social. I was a dancer. I'd go to dance class. I'd participate in the year-end dance recitals. I'd enter dance competitions. But then I took on something that was the ultimate. I joined a dance team. I danced for a professional football league in Canada for 5 years. I danced with 20 to 30 other girls. We traveled together, shared change rooms together, and partied together. I went to university and tried to fit in there. And I got a job and I worked in a government office where I tried to connect with my fellow colleagues. I got married and I hosted as many dinner parties as I would attend. I had a child and tried to fit in with the other moms when I'd take my kid to play dates and social activities. Was I ever chastised or criticized or made fun of for trying to fit in and be part of those social connections? Not really. Did it make me more happier and more confident about myself? Not really. I still felt like there was something else I was supposed to be doing. It wasn't until my 30s that I began my mindfulness practice. And as a dancer who still took dance classes, it was natural for me to join a yoga studio and begin my practice there. And even though there were other people in the yoga class, the practice wasn't about connecting with the other practitioners. This practice was about me connecting with myself, like I had always done before, aside and separate from others. Here's the thing. The separation from others is what is not acceptable. Something is wrong if you are doing something that is separate and apart from everyone else. We are a species of conformity. We like to fit in, and to some degree, some of us need to fit in. We like to do what others are doing. We follow trends. We listen to the music that's being played on the radio stations instead of seeking out sounds on our own. We do what people tell us to do because, well, they know what's best, right? We take advice from other people because they've been through what I'm going through, so they should know better, right? Wrong. I started to take advantage of the autonomy I had in my job. I took advantage of the opportunities to facilitate groups for others on my own. I went to training that no one else in the office was going to. I was also doing things in my downtime that no one else was doing, like learning about mindfulness, metaphysics, and the law of attraction. And then when everyone was complaining about their workload and the stress of a 40-hour work week and the grievances they were all filing with the union, I decided to resign and start my own business. What? You can't do that. You won't survive. You won't last. You can't do it. It's better to stay with the pack. Sure, there's safety in numbers, right? Those are the words that challenge your own inner authority. Those are the words that keep you stuck in limiting beliefs. And those are the words that make you question yourself. Do you do it? Or do you stay with the pack mentality? Well, I did it. I followed my inner voice, and I'm still doing it. 4 years now into this journey of creating content for empathic people, I started to talk about being a lone wolf, someone who carves their own path, and someone who was okay with spending time alone. And people told me, no, you can't survive like that. You need social connection. You need social connection. You won't be happy. You'll be depressed. I was more unhappy and depressed when I spent time with people who were not healthy for me. And I was stuck in survival mode, spending time in the workplaces that dictated their agenda on me. But now I have choice. Now I have free will. Well, I always had choice. I always had free will. But that pack mentality, that conformity limiting belief, kept me following along with what everyone else was doing, what I thought I should be doing. And I learned that I didn't need social connection as much as I needed to spend time with my own internal voice, my own inner authority. The majority of social connections in our lives are fraught with judgment, fear, and insecurities. While my own internal connection is where freedom, love, safety, and security is always available. And I do have a handful of people that I connect with who are not judgmental, who are not are they insecure? Do they impose their fears on me? This is what I mean. What an epiphany to uncover that social connection isn't the answer. It's inner connection. I've been led by this false belief my whole life until recently, maybe thinking it would be a temporary thing. Oh, you're just this way for now, but you'll come back. Come back to what? I've returned to myself in a way that is the most freeing, authentic, joyous thing I could have ever done for myself. Now, yes, I do still engage in social connections, but social connections with people who are not internally connected is hard to come by. It's like going out into the world as a well-adjusted kid who has to play with a bunch of whiny, scared, clingy, bullying friends. It's just not very satisfying, is it? So you naturally feel like something's wrong with you because you just don't vibe with them. And now you're the minority, but being the minority is not acceptable. Being a whiny, scared, clingy, aggressive kid is how we raise our kids. It's apparently normal because these kids are being raised by parents who are whiny, scared, clinging, and avoidant or aggressive, instead of the parent who is mindful, neutral, present, aware, and compassionate. What we have normalized is fear, fitting in, conformity, and judgment. This keeps people from going off on their own. This is what makes being a lone wolf so taboo. Society doesn't want us to all become hermits, but many of us do as a means to survival. And then we're shamed and punished for it. Something is wrong with us. No, something is wrong with the society that we're supposed to connect with. The social connection that's supposed to allow us to feel more whole and at peace is having the opposite effect. 80% of the population is not connected internally. They might spend some time there, but the majority of their time is disconnected from themselves, which makes connecting with those people on a social level not to our benefit. So something has to change because social connection doesn't work anymore. And just look at what social connection entails: substance abuse, consumerism, materialism, overconsumption, climate change, fake facades. What is beneficial is connecting with other secure and internally connected beings without any external influences that society wants us to buy, purchase, or subscribe to. Unless what you're subscribing to is a group of people with the same interests as you, that you have been drawn toward, not something that's been instilled in you as a conditioned belief, not something that over time lowers your energy, not something that over time creates a health problem for you. This is why I created the Evolving Empath membership. This is an online coaching platform where other empathic people who want to evolve themselves, who want to spend the majority of their time in a mindfully aware state. This is a membership that is designed for people who want to get out of the fight and flight and fawning ways of living that we have been accustomed to. This is for people who want to escape the survival paradigm, also known as the Matrix. You can't escape the Matrix by being a part of the Matrix. So as more and more people discover that the truth to happiness lies in being able to form a sense of inner connection, inner peace, inner harmony, this will create a temporary divide between them and the rest of society that they had previously connected with. Sadhguru had met with Dr. Vivek Murthy to discuss the epidemic of loneliness. And Sadhguru even said that it's an interconnection problem that everyone is missing. That's at the core of the loneliness problem, not social connection. We're even going to our phones for social connection. It's there all the time. Social connection is always available, whether it's healthy or not. It's still a social connection. But the inner connection is missing. When are people ever seeking that out? They don't. Self-care has turned into skin care. What people believe to be caring for themselves is actually just caring for their physical facade, not what's really going on the inside. If you're wondering why social connection isn't working for you, you've been trying to learn how to do that. But what you haven't been learning is inner connection. Again, it's something that you can learn. You just haven't practiced it yet. You don't know that it's an actual skill, just like being social is a skill. But it's still more than that. Let me tell you how. I'm going to break this down into 4 parts: reparenting, reconnecting, reconciling, and realizing who you are. First is the reparenting. Think of this as being re-socialized, rehabilitated. But you were never socialized properly to begin with. You were never maybe habilitated to begin with. So you're going to have to parent yourself in a way that you needed to be parented since the beginning. Compassion versus criticism. Living in chaos versus living in slow, mindful awareness. Reparenting yourself is redefining yourself through the lens of a caring and compassionate, loving adult. This is exactly what I'm going to be talking about in my next workshop in the Evolving Empath membership, an introduction to inner child healing. Finally connect to those feelings that you had from a place of a compassionate, loving adult. Next, we have reconnecting. I'm allowed to thrive as someone who spends a lot of time alone. And I was able to land myself in a job that I created for myself, that let me interact with other like-minded people who were also seeking ways to reconnect with themselves. And I created a work structure for myself to create content that speak to the messages that I wanted to convey, and to have time for deep dives, research, theorizing, analyzing, and conveying the patterns of recognition to other people in a way to help them connect. My self-connection was cultivating a sense of connection in others. What appeared to be me disconnecting from reality was quite the opposite. I was connecting with a reality that not a lot of people were willing to see or face. And that is the reality of common humanity. Common humanity lets us know that we're not the only ones who are going through this. Other people are also experiencing what I'm experiencing. I am not alone in this experience. The understanding of the word alone is that we are all one. Yes, we are all these individual, unique beings. And together, we are all one, but not if we're all disconnected from ourselves. Then we think we are all one in a very codependent, unhealthy way. The third thing to consider is reconciling yourself. Reconciling who you are and who you are not. To be on your own with others who are also on their own. This is the essence of interdependence. What our society teaches us is codependence. Many of us have gone too far in the extreme of codependence, which is hyper independence. And that is also not healthy. What lives in between those two things is this interdependence. You can be yourself while you also mingle with others. So social connection doesn't matter anymore because most times the quality of that social connection isn't enough to bring any true value in our lives. We're still left with ourselves at the end of the day. There is no amount of social connection that will feed our undeniable need for internal and intrinsic validation and connection. Until you can reconcile your own individual interdependence, social connection will be useless. And finally, realizing who you are without the noise of the outside world telling you who you are or who you're supposed to be or who you should be. I would never be the real me so long as I was playing a role for someone else or wearing a hat that wasn't mine. Finding a way to be of service to the world that is defined by your own morals and values instead of the morals and values of a company or a government is far better because it's in line with your own truth. And that truth is what drives common humanity. Your truth leads others to their own truth. And that is the best service you could ever offer. I know people will ask, but how can you make money that way? And if you have to ask how, that tells me you don't think it's possible. How can I connect with myself? Tells me that you don't think it's possible. How can I survive without social connection? Tells me you don't understand how it's possible. And so long as you don't think it's possible, you are still tied to the fear, judgment, doubt, and criticism of the world that's holding you back from connecting to your own internal guidance system. Sometimes you don't know how you're going to do it, but you trust you will do it. So when you ask me how did you do it? I will tell them I had faith in myself. I was also willing to take a risk in myself. I believed in myself, and I was guided by something within me instead of something outside of me. Once you put this idea out into the realm of possibilities, then opportunities will present themselves. That's what happened to me. One of the opportunities that presented themselves for me to be who I really was the platform of social media. Social media is a form of social connection, but it's curated. You can select your audience. You can select whose energy you want to follow. It's even better than a dating app because it shows you people who are actually aligned with your own truths and values. people that you would have never have found if not for social media. The whole For You page really is for you. It wasn't a plan I had. It was an opportunity that I took hold of in myself to make happen. I still don't have a plan. I still only have opportunities to take hold of and make them happen. Your opportunity will present itself, and it's going to look different from what mine looked like. You don't even know for sure what your opportunity will look like. So it's up to you to go with it and trust it. And with that, you will be the lone wolf. You will be the only one in your circle who's doing this. While everyone else is afraid to take advantage of opportunities, you have the faith and belief and trust in yourself to go for it. You will see how you will have a trickling effect on other people around you who want to do the same thing. But some of those people around you who want to do the same might just be wanting to do that for the wrong reasons, that they should do this too. Or they're doing it to compete with you, or to be as good as you, or even better than you. They're going after these opportunities from a place of fear, judgment, and criticism, instead of where you will be approaching it, which is from trust, faith, love, passion, competence in your higher guidance system. Without the interconnection secured, people will return to the social connection for solace and safety. But those social connections have become fraught with those limiting belief systems, false ideologies, and fear-based conforming behaviors. Entering into social connections in 2025 will be worse for your health in some instances compared to entering into connective practices, which is the key for you and your own mental well-being and all humans on this planet moving forward.